really, really annoyed with myself because I'm down fishing on the lake. I'm match fishing with like Bream and Tedge, yeah. Not match, not in a competition. I'm light fishing with a match rod. Yes, along comes Charlie the Kite, hook up, round he goes, he gets in that, I call it spear blade. Nobody's been able to come up with the name of it. A cylindrical one that comes up, it's got a little tuft on the top. If you get a fish in that, you normally lose it. In goes Mr. Carp. He's stuffed. One of my best antique, mended, repaired floats with the wobbly top. So I sort of want to get the carp out, but I want to get the float as well. And I'm leaning and leaning into the rushes and everything, going further and further down the rod like this, further and further. And I go, Granny, don't do that. You know not to do. You know not to do that. I got right to the end here. As I went like this, I'm pulling the line like this. The carp's coming. It goes posh like that. Snap the carbon tip of the rod. Listen, incredibly stupid. There's one person's fault. It's mine. But luckily, I've got a load of leftover tip rings from somebody that was a rod builder and says, Graham, I'm never going to use them, I'm retiring. So I've got loads of rod intermediates. They ain't going to be the right size, but you know me, I fish with anything. This is all I'm going to do. Yes, even the box I've got's broken, so all the rings can fall out. Lots of odd rings in there, which is what I'm grateful for. So I know sometimes tackle shops keep them, sometimes they don't. But there's loads of different types of inserts, as you can see. One of them's aluminium oxide, is it that one? Plain rings, real El Cheapos, spinning rod rings from years ago. These you always have to file the edge off the foot to get a taper on it so you can whip up it. But luckily I'm not going to have to whip. I've just got to look for a matched tip ring. Now, there, if I move that, is the tip. It's very, very small. The problem I have is, I've busted rings up before, they're single leg rings, which I don't particularly like. Whether they did it when they built this rod for lightness, I don't know. But if they go in and out of the rod holder, they end up rocking like this backwards and forwards, and that can fatigue them and break them. And as you can see here, I've repaired one that snapped off, but look, it's got two, if I turn it that way, two legs and a single leg. So there's three there for support. It doesn't rock forward like that. If I did it on the whole rod, it might alter the action of the rod, I don't know. But it is a light match rod. You've seen it. There's another one I've snapped over the years. I've lashed it on there really, really crudely, but it does the job. It caught me loads of fish, and I still got the carp. But I like the standard ring. I don't like these there. I don't like those single leg rings. Sorry, Mr. Manufacturer, but don't like them. Well, I can't see what I've got. Look, that one, hopefully it's going to go on because I've got nothing to shave. But it's very close to the tip ring. It's not in a straight line. So maybe that bit there is too long. I think it also, well, it doesn't have an attachment there for there's a slightly smaller one. I used to Aldite these, I'm just going to super glue this on. So guys are going to want to use one of those. Is that a different one? That's another large one, I think. What you must do is allow, if you do use something like Aldite, allow enough space for, don't get a nice sort of tight fit, too tight a fit there. If it's a very tight fit, I use super glue. If there's more gap, I will use Aldite. But sometimes when you go to push in, like this with Aldite in there, and there's not a vent hole or an air gap at the back here, the Aldite will spring it back like this and it end up setting on the tip. And then when you do get a fish, you've only got a support on a little piece there, because the air gap that you've pushed the Aldite in slowly does this, creeps it out, creeps it out, creeps it out. So you've only got half of the length of that there tube bit, and it will snap off again. So you want it to go right on. Little tip there. So let's get a bit of super glue, see if I can stick myself to the table. So a little tip I found is bend a piece of paper over a couple of times, and then, because this is not the gel ones are much better. This is just a straight wet one, I'm going to call it. Now you've got to watch your fingers here, because if I want to put a drip down there, the chances are it's going to come out. I saw it come out the other end. I'm just going to hold it with the tip of my fingers, and I'm just going to get it on like that. Just going to hold it till it sets. Making sure I haven't got it set with my fingers. And that's just going to go off carefully there. There's a tiny little gap at the back, but I can turn it on its end that way vertically and just drip into there some super glue. I'm going to let that set up first. That one is more in line with the ring there. If you see that, if I bring it forward a touch, don't want to move it now it's set or going off. That's in line there, so it should be okay. But it's my fault, guys, my fault totally. At least it's done and I can go fishing again. No more holding that rod top ground. I knew it was wrong. Well, as some of you people might recall, I actually got rid of my old boat, High Sea Drifter. There's the last hat that I had on it. Got rid of the old boat and now I've got rid of the old car. I've had it years. I've had a good night's sleep in it. What is going on? Worse, what was in it? I've got to be really careful how I talk. I'm going to have to talk a bit quiet because the old girl doesn't know what's happening. Other multitudinous things that go wrong, or could go wrong, are the belt there. But the problem being, I've always had estates, shooting baits, do you call them, estate cars, since the age of 19 or something like that. Had to, because it was work. Roof racks, stuff inside. She's got to go. She has got to go. I'm driving home the other night. I hear this whirring. I know it's a overheat fan kicking in. Why is that kicking in? Well, we had some hot temperatures, but there's another issue there. So I searched around, took it up to the guy. He couldn't find out what was wrong with it. I had a look around. I thought, well, it's got to be water. Is it a water pump's gone? The drive belt's going? Whatever. It's a hose down there. It's leaking, as far as I can see, through that secondary hose, this big one down there. And when I put my finger at the bottom, it's just like, it feels sort of perished. Anyway, the upshot of it is, they don't even know when they're going to get the hose in. They're not being made, wait for this, they're not being made. They went to the main dealer. They've no idea when they're coming in. So I've got no vehicle. I can't drive it. I've got buckets of water and God knows what else in there to top up. But if it bursts, I'm on the motorway, I'm done. Apparently the head gasket can fry, loads of other naughty things can go wrong. So the old girl's going. Hard to believe. Listen, wait for this. The part exchange on this, it's done 100 and... I normally change about 110,000. This one I've done 160, 159 and change. But I have always, for the last 15 years, had these Peugeots. No, I'm not sponsored, we're not selling them, we're not all like that. I'm just telling you that's what I had because apparently I was told years and years and years ago, 30 years ago, they had a diesel engine that went inside the London taxi and they ran like forever. So it was a diesel engine that sold it to me, to be honest, and I've had no problems with them. A couple of clutches, but that's through towing the boat, isn't it? You know, that's what that's done. I've checked the water, but the water will go down, so I'm taking it in. Too much in there, but that'll probably run out when that expands. They said it generally doesn't drain out down there when it's cold. It's when it's under pressure and hot that it's going to expand, makes a hole bigger and it leaks. It's just what's inside. So much rubbish I carry. The bird doo-doo is optional. It comes courtesy of the local pigeons. Because I carry all building materials and stuff, I have to have double carpets because I put anything in here. That's my luxury carpet for taking guests out. Anybody that the wife says, they can't see the state of your car. So I've got to clear all this out. Look, you always need this for the rear wiper, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. An umbrella. A rag, a hammer, high-vis jacket, a pair of binoculars in case I have to walk down the motorway seeing what number exit I have to come off, a second umbrella in case I have a guest, this comes out. Look at this. Oh, look at this. A third umbrella in case the guest has a guest, because I don't have any friends, so I don't need them anyway. I just got one for me and a couple of options. Oh, let's take a second hammer that we found on the road somewhere. Do you all have this rubbish in your cars, or is it only me? A kit of thingies that have never been used, but you never know when you want them. A single zip tie. Ring spanners, open end spanners. A second rag, paint's optional with this by the way. Some spare bulbs, very handy, except I don't know how to change them. A pair of earphones which do get used. Some gloves for doing mucky jobs with things like engines, like this, which I don't use. Ah, yes, definitely. A tow rope. A torch, but of course the batteries are not there. But what is more important inside is tools, a tape measure, thingies and stuff that never gets used. Probably to dump that. And then what everybody needs in the front. Look, my seats stay down all the time. They stay down all the time. In here, a bag of ropes. Oh my god, I would cry if I lost my ropes. I don't know what I'd do without them. Time the wife's spare shopping bag. Look at the state of it. Oh yeah, everybody knows in their car, inside you must carry some spare oil. Well, you never know. I did have an oil leak at one stage. It just seems to stop. I don't know whether maybe the sellotape did hold. I've had many a good night sleeping in this car for fishing trips. I'm going to want that for the Part X. Wait for this. This whole car with the engine, £500. Mike's advertising a tent for 700. It's crazy, isn't it? Engines, it's all working, it's all running. Just can't get the hose. Oh, a toolbox. Everybody should carry their own toolbox. Look, lighters, plasters, standing knives, junk, even more cable ties, screwdrivers, rock spanners, pinchers. Oh, another important thing. You want to pump tyres up? If you're full of hot air, you can put cold air in. A bottle of water for the radiator, washing the windscreen or anything if I run out. A map, because I don't know how to work a sat nav. This is sad, isn't it, really? More courtesy of the pigeons. A box where I have to store property keys. Hidden under here. From the COVID era, look at the dust on it. All the masks, which are now tainted by my filthy hands. Anti-back spray. Carry all that stuff with you because you never know when COVID's coming back. In here, oh, more junk. A little power bank for my telephone. What's left of the sat nav? What's up here? I've not been here for years. Probably bills from the last car. So I've got to clear it all out. Oh, spare notepads. Even larger spare notepads. Even more spare notepads for writing stuff down. Spare glasses. Got to leave those nuts in there for the spare pens, spare papers. Oh, now I could do that. I could do with that if I can mend it. Just put washing up liquid in there and spraying on my reels to make the line sink. Not neat washing up, but mildly diluted because somebody was whinging about it. Used it for like 100 years. 3 pairs of glasses just in case I lose 2. Some anti-back. More pens, more junk, more tissues for wiping the windows in the winter. A spider. Spiders are optional. A bag of change for a car park. Another tape measure. Oh, more notepads. So you know that's with the properties. A calculator for working out how much people are ripping me off. 53 used, partly used, filthy and bacteria covered or clean masks. 2020, the last pair of readers, brackets, car set. More anti-back. Oh, if you lose the first tape measure, you've got a second tape measure. More junk, more rubbish. Special notice I put on my windscreen. You'll like this one, guys. No cold callers, no charities, no religious groups, no leaflets, no charity bags, thank you. I put it on the windscreen like that. Can't laugh at me. Got to have a sense of humour in these mad times. God knows what's in here. Well, there's no mice in there. Is that working? It's working. A spare LED light in case I have to work on an engine of which I know nothing. So many spare tissues so you know my car steams up in the winter. Oh, hang on. A bag of change. I think it might be euros. So there you go. The old girl is going. It's a Peugeot 508 SW with tow hitch, with partly manufactured at home bolt-on bracket here to hold on for my boat, which I now don't tow. Now, this was a 2 litre. I wanted a 2 litre diesel because I've always had diesels. I've gone for, which they tell me, I think it's a 1.6 turbo, lardy diddly dum dee, all that stuff. Petrol, automatic, with the little paddle things. I'll show it to you if we ever get it. So I won't be towing. It's not for towing, but it's more for comfort, which I've got to get into, but I find it very, very, very hard because I've always had a work vehicle. So to have one luxury thing, which I don't want, you know, but something nice. This was the executive version when I bought it 12 years ago or whatever. But my goodness me, it's carried some gear. It owes me nothing. I'm getting almost nothing for it. But it's got to go because there'll be a list of stuff going wrong with it, 160,000. So the diesel's gone, petrol's, well, not back in. I've never had anything but diesels. So we're going to get this over and I'm going to collect the other one and we'll run through. I have had nothing but good to say about the engine on this car, and that's honest truth, and that's why I've gone back to the same make. I looked at some of the other makes, I just didn't like them. I thought, you know what, as the saying goes, better the devil you know. I nearly forgot. In the back, spare bin liners. These are ones that we use all the time for rubbish. Oh yeah, don't forget this. Don't leave home without this, all you car people that like immaculate cars. A bog roll. Don't laugh. Oh, don't laugh. Don't laugh. Nothing else in there, is there? There's always an emergency somewhere, and the older you get, the more emergencies might be coming your way. Look at it. It's a mess. Now I can't put all this in another nice car, can I? Or can I? Yeah, that's right folks. I don't know whether I've made a mistake or not. You know me, I've always had diesel cars. Generally do 100,000 in them at least and then exchange them out, get another one. Diesels, 2 litre, a state car, what we call shooting brakes and stuff like that. I don't know what I've bought now. It's so un-Graham like, it's ridiculous. But it's grey, it's the same sort of vehicle as I've had. And when I go into the guy in the dealership and ask him, the first question was, can I get a 6-foot sleeping bag in the back of that? Why would you want to do that? I said, because I had to tell him. I said, very often I sleep in cars. I can't help but wind them up like that, you know, if they're like salespeople. Well, we can go and measure it, sir. Hated he didn't want to lose a sale for the sake of a sleeping bag. But that's true, because I do sleep in it, so it had to be 6 feet, because I can bring these forward. This one is, let me get the piece of paper, because I have no idea what I've got here. This is a Peugeot, and I'm reading this because I haven't got a clue. It's a Peugeot. Bearing in mind, I always had diesel 2 litres. You won't get a diesel 2 litre anymore, he laughed. Peugeot 508 SW 1.6. How's that going to pull a boat? PureTech. And it's called, I think, 18 OGT or GT line. Oh, it's all turbo and GT and stuff like that. But here's the kicker, guys. It's not manual, it's automatic. However, it does have facilities for manual as well. Look at this. It has an 8-speed box, okay? It has different drive modes, which I can go to sports, I can go to whatever, economy, Well, that's me, isn't it? Or just regular. Just leave it in regular, sir. It's fine for you and your sleeping bag. It's got the old racing car paddles here. Can you see them? For changing gear. And I guess that's when you're in for snow. You can go into manual gear and you go up and you go down. See plus and minus there? It's got a nice sports steering wheel, which I've only had this a few days. I do like. One assumes ergonomically designed. Very nice, very small. Low seats. Slightly bucket seats here, look, hinged on the back. Keeps you nice and snug there. Backwards, forwards, upwards, sideways. A big thing I had with my other one. It was heated seats. I love them in the winter. This has heated seats. What has this got? Oh my God. It's got cup holders. There they are. Proper full-size cup holders for you. Nice little box there. I can put all my keys and property stuff and junk in there. A nice big one. I do enjoy that. This I can put my phone on, which is dead handy like this. Just where you want it. It's got an opening compartment there. Lovely. More junk goes in. 12 volt there, should I want a 12 volt adapter. Running a power light, something like that. And then of course in the back is in the back, which I put the seats down and just put a piece of cardboard in there normally, or carpet if I'm in a luxurious mode. However, it does have, oh, it's frightening really. I'll tell you where I'm going to pull it. I'm going to put it in the garage. Start, press the brake, press the button. I'm telling you now, people, it is so quiet driving, it's unbelievable. All you do is push the button in here, drop it back into drive. So I've got drive, neutral, reverse, park. It's in. It's ready to go. There's my dash, which does loads of different things. I can't even tell you. But when I drive, it's got this thing down here, if you can see it. This comes on, I guess, as a default, does it? Or automatic. It's to stop your lane changing, falling asleep. Or if you look at it the other way, you've done a long fishing day, you're going to fall asleep, it stops you drifting off. I've tried it, it's weird. It actually steers you back into lane. If you don't want it, switch it like that so it goes the other way. The other one, how many people are annoyed by these? These are the switch off at the traffic lights. Every time you stop, you've got to start again. But this one button press, it's off. And it comes up, stop start, deactivated. What is, I find handy, the speedo here. So you've got a speedometer there, tells me I'm in parking. It tells you there's a woman sitting in the back somewhere with a belt across her. It tells me I've deactivated that one. There's loads in it. I mean, it's way over my head. That tells you, as you're going along, when you go and change from different speed limits, 40 to 30 to 50, that tells you your speed in relation to what the speed should be. I'm telling you that, I've been out with the wife, is so accurate. It's literally to the pole that I've found where I've been. So I'm just going to take my foot off the brake. There's no like hand brakes, like, oh, I like hand brakes, you know, like this, wrench it up. Take your foot off, away you go. I'm going in here because the light will be better. You people know more about this than I do. Somebody who's into cars, please tell me. You can change all your different bits and pieces across here, look. Great big wide panel there. That's my sat nav with the arrows. Obviously, I have no idea how to work it yet. All the stuff, you can go up, down, do all your settings, whatever you want there, look. Underinflated initialization, I guess, on tyres. Traction control, parking sensors, automatic headlighting, up, down, up, down, up. Then you can go where you want, on and off, as you request them yourself on vehicle settings. The phone, I haven't put connect to phone because I've only just got it. I haven't got my phone on there yet. It's got the phone and you can answer the phone down here. I don't know what that one is. I've got to press it anyway. Oh, apps. Oh, I'll come to that in a moment. And a funny circle thing there. Oh, colour schemes. I just mentioned this, so that you can alter, wait for this, you can alter that to be, if you suffer from migraine, to a copper coloured tint, so you don't get migraine or headaches, should you get a headache from long drives watching that. So there's so much in here, I don't know what to talk about really. The phone's the first one's got to be sorted out, and there's a range of stuff across here, and you know, fans and stuff like that. It's obviously got all the gizmos and gadgets. I've got no idea. I need help, I need treatment, but it is touchscreen. you want it on your face or not. So you can just go up and down with that. And this is no word of a lie, right? I said to the guy up here, I'm amazed they still do the CD slots in there. He said CD slots, so that's not CDs. They don't do CDs like that anymore. They have full digital diddly-dum diddly-dees. It's the vent for blowing the air out. What do I know? What do I know? It's a dangerous thing, isn't it, little knowledge? One thing it has got, which is quite frightening. One thing it has got for me, which is slightly concerning, is this number down here. Because that one in the middle there says MPH. And that one there says 160 miles an hour. Now then, I pulled up this vehicle on, I guess, it's a coupe version, same thing, 508, wasn't the SW, so, and a guy's on the Autobahn on YouTube doing 130 something miles an hour, so they are an extremely fast car. Won't affect me, of course, because I don't drive very fast. It's very, very, very quiet, really quiet. Nice to drive, low seats, suits me. Mike sent off some roof bars for me because I cannot fill it. You saw my old car, I had it rammed full of building stuff, didn't I? It's terrible, ripped, torn, everything. So the roof bars, I can put a double ladder on when I'm doing guttering and stuff like that. The windows are weird, look, because they don't have a rim to them. Now when you go into reverse, it's just one squeeze and a pop forward like that. Oh look, I've got a complete TV screen in there and side view as well, so I cannot get used to using this thing. There we go. I find it extremely weird going back on all these little red measurements and whatever is telling me something's happened when I've got a seatbelt on in my own property. I thought something just went through the screen there. Did you see that? Did you guys see something go through it? Am I seeing things? I just thought I saw something around the back of the car. There's no wife to run over. Anyway, it's got this framework that you're supposed to work to. I guess red is danger, you run over something. And this tells you all the sensors of your zone to go into. Wait, what's that? Oh my God. Smith? Smith, get back inside. What the hell do you think you're doing, man? It's not a TV programme. You're not on Netflix or anything. You're not on the Totally Awesome Fishing Show. What does that boy think he's doing? I'm in reverse. So, windows. Yes, they go down, don't they? Very nice too. But look at the door when I open it. It makes beepy noises. To put a stop to that. It's like a sort of convertible, which is kind of weird. See, you can shut it. I'm not quite sure what the principle of not having a frame around here for. I suppose it looks cool, but when I slam a door, I tend to get hold of the corner and shut it that way. So how long that flexibility lasts, I have no idea. How long is it going to stay in this condition? And I have to tell you, I've already been on a fishing trip with it, with a full whack of carp gear in here, and had an absolute ball on the carp. You haven't seen the film yet. I think I hooked 21 double figure fish and I netted 17. Film is in the files. So I've well and truly christened the car. At the moment, well pleased with it. You guys out there, somebody might have one of these. Let us know how you're getting on with it. Too late now, I've got an automatic and I do quite like it, I have to say. No more gear changing. Might be a bit thirsty on the fuel if you give it a good boot full, I don't know. But there you go, that's the latest Totally Awesome fishing vehicle. Soon to be messed up, I fear. Right, let's get inside. I want a cup of tea. 3D navigation with TomTom, an 8-speaker radio, which is handy. I'm deaf in one, that leaves 7 speakers for the other ear. Happy days. Well, that's it, guys. You've seen the old wagon, the old girl go, you've seen the new girl. Let's just hope I catch as many fish in this one as I did that old one. Well, it remains to be seen whether that car gives me a good night's sleep, because I haven't yet done an overnight in it. Done a few overnighters in the bivvy, haven't yet slept in that car. I'm sure it's lovely. It probably plays lullabies as well. Anyway, out in the garden, recently I was telling you a lot of stuff hadn't come out. Woohoo, it's all suddenly kicked in. Check this out. Some of them really impressed with. Well, the roses are one of the things. that have been a success. Now they suddenly all turned up, but one side, the right hand side, has had a load of blooms and they've gone into bud again. I'm trying to do the proper thing by secateuring off the dead heads as soon as I see them, and as you can see, there's plenty of buds there to come out. So they were really good when they do come out. These, wait for this, supermarket plants, I mean, they've done really, really well this year, but the best thing ever is a packet of wildflower seeds that I came from the supermarket for £5, honestly. Probably on the discount bargain centre near me. But look at all these grown from seed. 100% I'm doing this next year with a load more. For a £5 box of seed you get, I think, 4 or 5 different species of, I guess, English wildflowers. Beautiful colours, delicate pastels. Both the wife and I are very impressed with them. Of course, the problem being, it's a bit tricky when you first put them in, because when they come up, it's like weeds as well. They look like weeds. And look, they say it attracts all the wild. This is the first time I've seen for a long time, sort of, whatever that one is, hoverfly, or bees coming around these. They definitely like these wildflowers. Quite delicate colours on them as well. Been very impressed with them. And as I say, next year I'm going to get myself organised, proper compost. All these are wild, just from seed. I'm sort of amazed myself, really amazed on that. I know they say we should do all this as part of the rewilding, I think, but I mean, at the end of the day, you can go to the garden centre, pay a lot for plants, or you can get some lovely cheap ones grown from seed. I've had to stake a couple of the taller ones. I don't know, well, they're sort of like a cosmos. These also came from the supermarket, like a miniature fuchsia. They have been a real success. The wife's standard from the nurseries, blue lobelia. The petunias have not been great this year. I've lost quite a few. I mentioned that because other people have lost them as well. But the actual king of the garden, I feel, is the wildflower show we've got. Next year, give them a try, people. I'm sure you won't be disappointed. And of course, I mentioned about these gladioli bulbs that I planted again for the supermarket, a £5 box. Look at this, my goodness. They have exploded in the last, I want to say, 2 weeks. You could just see the buds coming up between the leaves. But again, because we're up on the hill a bit, it gets windy, they do get blasted. I've had to stake them with bits of bamboo and stuff. And of course, stuff like the Lavatera, just a massive bush grown from, wait for this, an 18-inch single length about 3 years ago. So they are a success. I just take a cutting. So being out in the garden, as I do quite a bit out there when I can't go fishing, I suddenly saw wheeling up in the sky, majestically curling around on the thermal currents, Colin. Well, actually about 10 or 20 Collins. Why on earth were they up there? It's harvest time. They're going to do the haylage, the silage. I always get mixed up which one it was, but they were out there and it's a sight to behold. The wife suddenly got me going all excited. They're saying, yeah, they're outside, they're cutting, because I tried taking Mike's dog Jack through that and it's just so tall. It's about 30 inches tall, and of course there's a worry of ticks from the deers. They get it all in rows like this, but I've never, other than this year, I've never seen the actual grass about 30 inches tall. I don't know why this year, but whether it's all the rain early on in that late spring rain we had, and then that big heat wave, very, very high. And as you can see, the actual grass ears, do they call those ears? The grass ears, if you like, when you just crumble them between your fingers, look at all the seed that drops out of them. So I'm assuming it's normally end of June-ish, getting towards the end of June, that they think of cutting all this. I guess for haylage or silage, somebody tell me, they always do each year, I forget which is which. But of course they've got that machinery there. It doesn't take Colin long with his pals to come. And this is what they use, this machine, a tractor with what I'm going to call a front cutter, which is lowered, and then 2 wings sticking out, like sort of outriggers that you have on a big game boat. And he lines himself up, so that yellow area is the actual width of the cut. So he reverses back, gets his line that he's going to cut on, and then he lowers the front one. You'll see it go down. there, but I wonder what is the plastic skirt for? What's the idea of that? I don't get that. Is it to stop birds flying in there or something? I don't know what that sort of skirt. And he absolutely flies along, cutting all this up and leaving it in nice, neat rows. So it's quite something to see. A good bit of British countryside. Watch Colin go down this stoop. Watch, he's seen something. Watch him fold his wings. I was there. Look at that, like a missile. And that's in slow motion, guys. That's 50% slower. He's got something. Watch it falls out of his paws. He goes up. He's got a mouse or shrew, and oopsie, he's dropped it. So there you go. They put them in this hoppers. They spray and put it in the hoppers. And these guys work virtually dawn to dusk. And you can't blame them. They've got to get this in, because if you have a big thunderstorm, it's like any farmer. If it goes flat, when it's growing up that side, it won't grow up again. And it's difficult to harvest. Oh, there's some more predators of the skies. What are they? Sopwith camels. And some more single wing ones and double wing ones going across there. Just happened to pick those up at the same time. And there's a buzzard and a kite together. Every predatory bird known to British ornithologists was about that day that they cut. And you can't blame them, because obviously with these blades going, they cut up mice, shrews, everything that's creatures that are in there gets either exposed or chopped up or wounded. It's just the way it is. And in the background you can see the two, I'm calling them hoppers. Do you call those hoppers that are being towed along? And it's all scooped up by the front tractor. You can see the blades actually revolving. They're picking up those rows that were left, and he spews it across, spraying it into those big hoppers, and the empty ones behind, you can see him behind. Very interesting to watch. And then as one fills up, I don't know how they know how to fill it to the back, because they're quite long, those hoppers. There are two people in there. Do they talk to each other by phone? Farmers tell us, how do they know how to fill up? Because is that spout movable? Can he drive and move the spout at the same time? All these things I want to know. So while one guy's cutting, the other two there, he's just changed now. One hopper's going to wherever the hoppers go, taking that stuff, and the second one is being filled up. It's non-stop. They got, I don't know, several hundred acres outside us, and thank goodness they're still doing it, not building housing estates there. I'm sure one day it will come and they'll be moving to Ascension Island or somewhere, getting away from the concrete jungle that's vastly approaching. See, he's accelerating there. Now is that, how does he know to go forwards and backwards to fill that? Otherwise he just goes in one big heap and overflows. All very interesting, I find. Hope you guys find it interesting as well. I want to go driving that tractor. Look how fast he's going. The birds, I counted over 30 late in the evening going around, and the rain's coming in there. They're not bothered. They're looking for all the goodies that have been exposed there. And there you can see the two working together. Quite something to see. I wouldn't want to know how much those expensive looking machines cost. Not cheap, I bet. Hi. He's seen me filming. He's probably seen me each year. I've been lucky to catch them, because they do it like in a day, 2 days. It's all over and done by the shouting. Well, there you go, people. I hope you've enjoyed looking at this. Well, it's an event. It's an annual event. Fortunately, it's right outside my back garden, so it's no hardship to watch this guy whizzing along there. You can see why creatures get chopped up there. And then look, as they've left in the evening, there is a deer. Roe deer, I'm guessing roe deer, or indeed is it an immature fallow deer? Come on, you deer people, tell me. Dear, oh dear, I wish I knew. I got it down as a roe deer. And of course it's there because there are no dog walkers letting their dogs off the lead chase the deer. But of course, years ago, I saw a lot more than that there. I always find it interesting, you know, I mean, that time of year, it does illustrate we're coming almost into and out of the peak of summer virtually overnight. We had some really hot weather early on in May and June. Now, as I look outside, it's not great. It hasn't stopped blowing at all. So there's nothing better to do than go and talk fishing. So it's over to Grant's Tackle Up shop in Fleet, and we're going to have a chat this time about what Grant is catfish rigs. We're back in Grant's Tackle Up shop here, and Grant, I know carp fishing is carp fishing,
yeah.
But I get asked quite a bit by guys who want to go, you know, catfishing, not necessarily for monsters.
Yeah.
How are you finding it for catfishing? Are people sort of inquiring more now?
Yeah, people inquire more. I think they go carp fishing for a night, they catch a cat and become very intrigued because of how hard they fight and things like that.
Yeah.
And then obviously we get to the point of we get asked tactics, how do we catch them, what do they feed on? But for me, cats are quite greedy, so you will find a lot of people catch on beds of pellet and things like that.
Yeah.
Or
There's big pellets.
Just big pellets like dumbbells. We've got some other like boilie types. So they're like a boilie texture.
Yeah.
But those are just a dumbbell. Different colours, different flavours.
So what would they be sort of made out of? Are they just
it's a boilie basically, but it's just made into
same
a
material.
Same material, yeah. So it's a make up of boilie, and we've got obviously they're just some big.
We goals, whatever they call it.
Yeah. There's just these are called spicy mackerel ones. But they're just nice and gooey and smelly. So really smelly baits, things like to attract them.
Now
you don't have to go fishing for monsters.
Exactly, you can get 5 and 10, 15 pound catfish to give you a good scrap.
I've caught them on a float rod before, which was great fun at a mate's place, but that was years ago. But you can fish smaller carp tactics to catch the cats. But the only thing I would say is you'd have to just step up some of the gear because, as you will know yourself, they really do fight hard. Some of them.
Now, we'll just ask briefly on these.
Yeah.
Why is it a dumbbell shape, knowing that a boilie for carp is always round?
I just think it's something different because everyone's always fished like, what do you call them? The big pellets, the halibut pellets.
Oh yes, donkey chokers.
Donkey chokers, yeah. So they're generally just toppers because these are actually a pop up.
Yes, I see.
So the idea they put them onto their pellets and have one as a topper, and it might just sit it up a bit.
So you might have a pellet with that on the top, as it were.
With that on the top, yeah.
Okay.
So, or you could just fish it straight and it would be sitting up.
It would definitely be up.
Yeah. So
why off the bottom? What is the fascination?
Well,
is it because they catfish come off the bottom at night?
They come off the bottom, and obviously a predator, as you know, will generally look up as well. But they've got other rigs for fishing up in the water because you'll find that sometimes you'll catch your catfish on carp tactics. Or the other nights they might be up for more live bait. So obviously their normal thing is roach, bream, tench, carp, whatever they can eat when they are feeding. So we do various different rigs. So this would be your basic rig for pretty much just a standard hair rig, like a carp rig.
Yeah.
So a big catfish hook, big gauge.
What size would that be?
That one. Oh, you got me now.
It looks like a sort of.
It's a 1.0.
That's a 1.0.
So that's a 1.0. So, but we do various. People like fishing, obviously, the circle hooks.
Yeah.
For the hooking ability and being able to release the fish easy. But I think cats, as you'll know, they're very hard mouths. They've got the pads in the top of the mouth as well, like sandpaper.
So what's that sort of braided link?
That's a braided link, very heavy. So what you'll find is where they've got millions of little teeth in their mouth, or thousands of little teeth, with the normal standard carp braids, once they twist on it a few times,
it's chafing it.
Snaps. Yeah, or it's about to snap when you've got them in. Whereas this one has got a coating in it, and we do get Kevlar based ones as well. It makes them a bit tougher, but that is, I think that's about £100 that one.
About 100, so, it's pretty big,
So it's quite a hefty one, but I would say you're going to be looking at fishing for general cats, smaller fish, 35 to 40 pounds maybe as a hook strain, as your hook length, as a breaking strain.
And just regular barrel swivel on the end?
Barrel swivel, so I mean that's an £80 breaking strain swivel, you get up to £100, £150, but really somewhere around the £40, £50 class. But if you're anything like me when you're fishing, if you're fishing for fish that potentially could be big, step the gear up and don't lose it.
Exactly, you don't want to lose fish.
And then obviously we've got other rigs for fishing, surface rigs. So this is called a tipper rig, which looks very weird and wonderful. So this is essentially just a piece of tubing.
Yeah.
So you thread your main line through the tubing.
That's like the carp, what do you call it? What's that?
Rig tubing.
Rig tubing, that's what they call it.
So that's basically what it is, rig tubing, but just on a bigger gauge, which is designed for big lines.
So £20 line if something like that.
£20, £30, £40 to go through.
Really?
That would be absolutely fine. But you don't need to fish that, as you say. We're just generally you're carp fishing and there's been loads of cats you want to switch and have a go. Step your gear up slightly. Minimum of probably a £15 main line, maybe a £20 main line. So anyway, let's go on to this one. So this one's called a tipper rig. There's a little diagram on here because it displays it a bit better than I can hold it.
Yeah.
So this one's actually got a hook link there, £60. You've got a bit of silicone tubing, and this is a big float basically, which has a rattle in it. I don't know if you can hear that.
Really? Oh, yeah.
So when you've got a live bait on there, as a catfish approaches, you know the fish will get a bit nervous. And it's just more disturbance in the water to attract the fish, so this works on, if any of you guys watch the Zigwig video, pretty much the same method that you're going to fish this, thread your line through here.
Yeah.
And we're going to through here, and then you tie onto your swivel the other end. Okay?
So that's where your hook link goes to the other end.
That is where the hook link goes to the other end. And then I'll push that back on there for the minute. So this is just a tubing, it's more of a rubbing leader for up your line. And then the idea being is...
That's not in contrast to the carp one, which is there to stop the scales being pinged off.
No,
obviously, they're so slippery and slimy, catfish, there's nothing pinging off of them.
No, you haven't got the little, the scales like the mirror carp and the common.
Yeah, so it's more of a sort of rubbing leader against their body.
Rubbing leader against the body, yeah. So, and they will twist and turn and roll and swim backwards on you when you think you're about to get them in the net. So the idea of this one is, as I say, the video, the diagram shows it a bit better. This would float up in the water, so we could then sit with our main line and go, right, we know we've got 8 foot of water, we want to fish it 4 foot deep. So you take 4 foot off your reel line, which every time we pull a foot off, this will rise up another foot.
Yeah.
And the idea being then we're suspending bait. So not necessarily this particular rig on here, but you would fish either leeches, which is known for fishing for catfish, or, for me, I wouldn't do leeches, I'd probably be looking at a pot of lobworms.
I was just going to say, surely lobworms look similar.
Yeah, I think what it is, the leeches swim very well and they just keep going and going.
Okay.
Whereas the lobworms obviously get a bit tired. But I would be happy with a bunch of worm hanging off that, mid-water depth.
And now, with the lobworms, you wouldn't thread them up like I would do normally, like beach fishing, just hook a lobworm once so they want them wriggling?
Yeah, I'd just be hooking a bunch on.
Skewer them on?
Yeah, skewer them on. I'd probably even hook them halfway through the saddle, even maybe just load them on there. You want lots of disturbance and movement, and yeah, that's it. Catfish are quite predatory, but you will find you'll have days where you will catch more on carp tactics.
On the bottom? Or
other days they are on what you call live baits, looking for activity.
Up on the top. Yeah, I've actually been to fishery and heard them boshing around at night. Oh my God, it's they're so you hear them like a tarpon sucking it.
Sort of like a pop noises, a pop, and that's generally them sucking water off the top as they're coming up the hit thing.
Now you have a lead on the bottom of that.
Yeah, so we go from a lead on the bottom, big lead, probably 5 ounce, something like that, to hold it down. So it's shown on here. Then you've got what this is a posh run ring. So it's easy sliding, it's got a ceramic ring on there, so it just slides up and down this tubing. And what we do is essentially that will then go to your main line, lead off there, as we showed.
The lead goes on, man.
So the lead ties off on that.
Because I get 2 of those, that's the wife happiest pair of earrings.
That is a pair of earrings, well, I don't think my wife would like them.
So the lead goes on that?
Yes, you can either get like you say, a little clip or something.
Oh, another clip on
another clip.
That loop doesn't open up though.
No, that loop doesn't open
fixed,
up. That is a fixed.
Loop.
It's almost like an eye on a rod.
It is, yeah.
It's a ceramic ring. So you get various sizes from smaller ones, large ones. This is quite large to allow the tubing to go through and not get in the way. But that's so you essentially can pull it right down to the lead, and then as you let out a foot.
Yes, from there. This is on the lake bed, like you see it there.
I'm going to let it out, and then you let a foot up, and then another foot up. Another foot, and then you can fish. You can fish at that depth, which would just be your tubing off the bottom.
So if you bung one of these, I'm going to call them floaters on there, or stand up, it's going to be up here, isn't it?
So but how I'd fish this would probably more of a live bait rig. This is so it'd be worm, things like that. So it'd suspend, be bent over like this for the worm. Yeah. And when the catfish hits and takes it, it will just bang. It'll be straight on your rod, and it will fly off. As you know, you get some screaming runs from them. Generally on the live baits, they're just hit and run.
Now, I don't know, it's a total, I'm feeling this hook here.
That's
microbarb, is it?
That is a microbarb, yeah.
So you don't have to put anything else on top to stop your worms coming off if you're night fishing all night?
Bait shields is something you might have heard of in the past.
No.
So, or what I generally use.
It's Graham you're dealing with here.
Elastic bands.
Yes,
so
I've got some.
Get elastic band. We get quite big, thick elastic bands.
Yeah.
And just cut them
Scissor
into little squares.
Yeah, pop it on.
And then just pop it on.
Yeah, that's
or it could be an old piece of pond liner. Give a little wave. There we go. Back on.
Yeah. You just wave to the man up. There's a bloke on a bike cycling with the generator on the roof.
So we've got. So you can either use elastic bands, they do sell bait shields, or you could use a piece of pond liner or something rubbery, and all that is literally, because your worms squirm around and move a lot, you just put a little piece over the top of there.
Yeah.
So I might even have a bait shell to show you. So, right, so what we were just saying about, obviously, something to keep your worm on. You can buy these other little bait shells that are around. Also, we could use a bit of rubber band. And literally put all your worms on, and then pop your rubber on, and that just stops the worms coming back over to the point of the hook.
And of course, you've got such a big mouth, the catfish, you're going to suck the lot down.
So you think that looks like a massive hook, which in real terms of what you're carp fishing or your general course fishing, it is a big hook. But when you've got a 10-pound catfish, and his mouth's as big as my hands like that, that's essentially
sucks it straight down,
just straight in and out. And they've got a really hard mouth, so you've got to have a very sharp hook as well.
Would you use that rig for a live fish, if you're allowed to live bait, i.e. a rudd or roach? Or...
Yes, on this particular tipper style rig, yes.
Yeah. So it's not going to come back round the main line and get tangled?
No, so that's the idea. So when this is through here as well, it creates a bit of a boom effect. And you've got these, so they generally just sit off. But I would probably use that more for my leeches and my worms.
Yes.
And then you have got other rigs, like a dumbbell rig that works across the top, and then the way that comes up, similar off the bottom.
Yes.
And then it just hangs down. So generally
that would be a dumbbell rig for live bait.
Yeah. So
for a live fish or something.
For a live fish, because if I just pop the dumbbell, I'll show you this.
It's all alien to me.
It is all alien. I mean, this is just making it a little bit more complicated. We could do some sort of, you could do it with the sunken pipe float, things like that, but these have been tried and tested, they work really well. And the idea is where that's more solid, the fish physically can't really bend back. So he's just going to swim around here, and it's going to keep him out of the way of your rig, basically.
And the two orange balls just basically floats?
That's it, floats.
Just to keep it up in the water?
Yeah, and then every time the fish pulls down, these will just bob around. It creates a bit more disturbance for, you know, for a catfish to come and have a look, really, because they're quite inquisitive, as you might have heard of a clonk before.
Yeah, that's it, a circular thing with a... Yeah.
That's it, and to just create some noise for the catfish to come up and have a look, really, because they're very inquisitive of noise.
Yeah. Just run us through basically what you think, on average, could they use carp gear for fish up to £20?
Definitely.
And then when you get to what, say, a 50 plus?
When you start going 50 plus, you want to step your gear up. You can get away with fishing a spod rod if you own a spod or marker rod that's 4.5, £5 test curve.
Yeah.
That'll get you going. What you'll find is on a £3 test curve carp rod that, as you try and pull into the bigger fish, they just flat rod you, and you won't have enough power. So, and bigger reel, you'll generally see cat hangers with massive reels, and you'll think, wow, that's over the top. But it's purely for cranking power because of the weight of the fish to crank it and pull it up. So, yeah, generally step your gear up for the bigger cats if you're just having a go, because you've got some fish in the lake that are 30, 40 pounds, maybe up to 40, 20 pounds. Kind of go with your carp gear.
Give it a try first before you lash out on a big heavy. You don't need the big. Well, I haven't got any big gear.
As you say, a lot of people now will have a spod rod or a marker rod. It's got a common thing with the carp anglers, especially. So if you've got a spod rod and you think you've got potential of a big catfish, then it might be worth sticking your spod rod out on a setup for the night and just see how you go.
Yeah, so you could actually, because I know a lot of waters they've got the double species. You've got the carp and they've got the catfish in there. So you could say using on a 3-rod licence. Pair of carp rods out,
and then one
off
for the cats.
One off to the side for a cat as a bonus with a bunch of lobworms.
Yes, and you'll know when they're there because they make plenty of noise, big fizzes and massive runs.
You know when you look up, I know that.
Yeah, good fun. You'll be hurting the next day if you get big ones. So.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for that, Grant. I appreciate it. There's a lot of gizmos and gadgets there for you guys to look at. And anybody out there got any comments, what rigs do you like using for catfish? And tell us, what do you think your favourite catfish bait is? Especially the Americans are going to have different stuff over there, aren't they?
They're totally different. Not like us at all. So.
Well, there you go, guys. The boat's gone, the car's gone, the lucky high sea drifter hat's on. Am I going to get any fish? I don't know. Probably, with a bit of luck, I will. You guys will be the first to see it, hopefully. Stay tuned, hit the little buttons, bing bong, TA Fishing, TA Outdoors. Check out Mike's. He's got another channel, The Life of Mike. Check it out. So there's lots of stuff we're trying to put up for you, and we'll see you in the next episode.